Kentucky, Saturday night live stream chat, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. What was the temperature today? About 40?
I like got up to 50-something, 60.
50-something. How's it going out there? My youngest son came down a couple of days ago and helped me get a new mini trampoline, as I broke half the springs in the last one I had, so I got a brand new mini trampoline and listened to a Horzoo Magical Mystery Tour about an hour ago.
John H. said, good evening, Sticker fan.
How you doing, John H.?
Thomas Crook said, hello, Frank.
How you doing, Thomas Crook?
Who just popped up? Oh, Lil B, of course, said hi.
How you doing, Patricia?
Valentine's Day.
Early happy birthday to you. I guess you're about a week away.
Yeah, next Sunday. Dave Evans.
Dave Evans.
How's it going, Frank and Sticker?
Dave Evans, I'm going to talk about the best audiophile stereo pressings of the whole Beatles albums, all the Beatles albums that exist in the world. Here in a little bit.
Go ahead, I'm just sharing it while you talk.
All right. Finally got these postcards in. These were taken from a Liverpool Strawberry Fields Museum. I think that's what you call it, Library Museum, and January 29th. And then they were taken back to California, and then I bought them from a seller in California. So you got Paul Mescal as Paul McCartney, and it's number 122. Some of these were autographed, but I don't have any of the autographs. Some of the ones that were autographed to Ringo, I saw went for $100 on. Some of them were randomly autographed. That's Barry Keoghan as Ringo Starr, number 225. Only 1,000 of these were randomly put out in Liverpool, New York, and Tokyo. I don't know if they were putting out in LA or not. I don't think so. This is Harry Dickinson as John Lennon, number 224. And we got Joseph Quinn as George Harrison. What do you guys think about the clips that have come out on the new Beatles biopics that are going to come out in 2028, directed by Sam Mendes?
Wolfie Baby, hi, Frank and Travis.
How you doing, Wolfie Baby?
Larry says, hi, Sticker fam.
Larry, how you doing, Larry?
Polly Hewitt, hi all.
How you doing, Polly?
North Carolina vinyl picker.
Arthur's in the house. Arthur, we took down that Led Zeppelin, Becoming Led Zeppelin poster. If you're still interested in that, you give me some for shipping and I'd send it to you, because you promoted my channel there. Yeah. So if you get a hold of me there, Arthur, I don't think I've got an email from you yet. Mr_stickermania@yahoo.com. We'll figure out how I can ship that out to you.
Polly Hewitt, hi all. Oh, you said Polly. It's Greg Fio.
How you doing, Greg?
Travis, hard to believe it's been 16 years today, almost to an hour. We lost Doogie.
Doug Feiger. Am I saying that right there?
You called him Dougie.
Dougie.
Yeah.
Greg Fio sent me this guitar pick that belonged to Doug. And I got this in today from Perry Cox. This is a 1980 Knack album, but the little girls understand the Knack, and it's autographed by all 4 members on the back. Doug and Prescott and Bruce and Burton. I think Burton's the one that wrote most of the music. He wrote the My Sharona. I bet he gets the royalty checks for that every month. So you got Doug Feiger right there. I think he wrote Thanks above it. Prescott Niles in the middle. You got Bruce Gary on the top. and Burton Avery down here on the bottom. The COA from Perry Cox. Perry Cox sent me a nice email. Said he picked this up in Las Vegas a few months ago. This is the inner sleeve for that Knack album. This shows looks to me like this is before their appearance, because they're not sweating, at the Carnegie Hall. Kind of just like the Beatles in the limousine, and the girls are all there all over the windows. Recreation of the Beatles in Washington and New York, February 7th of 1964. There's a sealed 1980 Laserdisc of the Knack live at Carnegie Hall. And their encores were Not Fade Away and A Hard Day's Night. That's my Knack moment, Knack tribute. Some notes. What do you guys think of the Jim Irsay auction coming up in New York City at Christie's? Yeah, Mikey must not be in the chat, but I'd like to have Mikey as partners to get a hold of that 1967 signed Sgt. Pepper Fan Club poster with a COA from Frank Casio. They got to estimate that it's going to sell from $50,000 to $70,000. I'd have to make a partnership with Mikey that I'd have it 6 months of the year and he could have it 6 months of the year. Then there's going to be a fan. I know Greg Fio's probably into all the instruments and the drums and the Ringo's drum set from 1963 and Ringo's drum head that was on the Ed Sullivan Show, and all those guitars from John Lennon and George Harrison. There's the handwritten lyrics of Hey Jude. I haven't got the catalog, the $100 catalog I sent away, but they say they're done printing it, so I should get it next week. I think Mikey Arugula ordered one of those also, and so did Greg Fio. There's in the auction is going to be a signed Cavern Club 1962 lot that has the fan club card signed by the three Beatles and Pete Best, no Ringo Starr. Still be a cool piece to have. A couple other notes. Michael Fremer seems to be getting a lot of heck in the vinyl community. If it wasn't for Michael Fremer and Chad Kassem, the rest of us, we wouldn't have a strong vinyl community, because they believed in vinyl when nobody else did. So I think everybody needs to chill out in the vinyl community and give those two some respect, because they're both on the top of the Mount Rushmore for vinyl collecting over the years, in my opinion. We're up to 2,903 subscribers on YouTube, so we're only 97 away from giving a butcher cover away. So
T-shirts in the house if you want to say.
How you doing, Polly from T-shirt? T-shirt Express, thanks for being on every little thing. Beatles episode number, was it 19 last time? Mm-hmm. Thanks a lot there for showing your yellow submarine. And your yellow submarine, what was it I sent him?
The photo book. The
photo book is on your way. We sent it out yesterday. Some other notes. The Man on the Run, Paul McCartney documentary that I was complaining there was only one showing of it on, was it February? I think it was Thursday, February 19th, and I couldn't get a hold of any tickets. Well, somebody must have heard me, because now there's going to be a second showing on February 22nd, Sunday at 2 p.m. here in Louisville, and I got 2 tickets right in the center. Cost me about $20 each, but I want to experience the Man on the Run like I did becoming Led Zeppelin in the big movie theater.
Tisha said, yeah, a lot of fun. Thank you. It's too kind for you sending that. And then Patricia said, don't you think McCartney will buy his Hey Jude lyrics?
I would think so. I would think some of that stuff may never end up in the auction that day because McCartney's people are going to try to get a hold of it before the auction ever happened. I would think Ringo would want that drumhead from Ed Sullivan too. They estimate that's going to go from $1 million to $2 million. The drum set, the complete drum set for '63, they're estimating $3 to $4 million. Got a nice email from Jim Hansen, the West Coast peeler of butcher covers. I sent him an email saying that I respect that I think in my opinion, he's the best man on the planet Earth ever to be able to peel all those West Coast butcher covers. And he sent me an email back saying he was glad to meet me and he heard a lot of good things through Rockaway Records and Mike Slayton about me. So he was he responded well to my email, Jim Hansen. I didn't ask him if he still peels West Coast butcher covers. I don't think he does, but I could be wrong. Mark Lewison is doing his new Evolver 62, I think it's called. It's a 108-minute documentary, long documentary on Amazon Prime and Apple Plus. I need to watch that. I haven't watched it yet. And on my eBay store, I just went over 15,000 score with 19 years on eBay. Perry Cox has a 27,000 score, but he started eBay right when it started. I don't know if that was 2002 or 1998. And I have 1,700 followers on eBay. There's been a big debate I heard lately. I heard it on the radio the other day, 8400, about Taylor Swift legend versus the Beatles legend. And because Ringo Starr did shouted out Taylor Swift is a legend for today's crowd. But the radio debate finally said that the Beatles would win that argument because they had more of it was just a huge following when they came to America. It was almost like a cult following, and it's the same thing with Taylor Swift kind of. Two Legs did a Hands Across the Water, Kyle Hand, Andy Nichols, and Beatley Tone on why Beatles for Sale is underrated. They did a deep dive into Beatles for Sale, so I appreciate they did that because I push this album all the time. What else? Those are my notes on there.
So Greg's got a bunch of comments. He was a huge Beatles and Zeppelin fan, talking about the Neck guy. His sister Beth sold me as Jimmy Pig's Dragon Telecaster, Long Live the Knack. And then Carnegie Hall 1979 was also known as Knack Mania. And then he said he hoped you liked the photos that he sent you at the gym last Saturday.
Yeah, I liked them.
And then he said Ringo already sold the #1 drum set for his Lotus Foundation charity. Might be a conflict of interest. Paul owns the #1 head in his studio as we speak.
Give me those, Chip. My local buyer, Dave, not Dave Evans, bought all this stuff delivering tomorrow. The Holland box set outside of the White Album. I took the White Album. He knows he's not getting the White Album because I sell that separately because it's on my list of the best audiophile pressings, 1980 Holland box. But I listened to this Please Please Me, and it has the same metalwork as the Beatles from Germany, -2. This pressing is one of those top albums to get of all forever on the stereo pressings of Beatle albums. And he also bought my Abbey Road from the UK, 1978. I think it's It's a Harry T. Moss. I have the list of it somewhere. He bought the Abbey Road with the -4 on side 1 and -3 HTM on side 2. This is what Tom Port from Better Records says is the best audiophile pressing ever of Abbey Road, but I still like the UK first pressing, -2, -1 better. And Chaperone. Dave bought the Chaperone sealed. He says he's got to get some Chaperone. The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. And he bought the sealed Record Store Day. This was the first issue ever of the Pink Pony Club from like a year and a half ago. So, Dave, I'll be meeting you tomorrow on all that stuff. Delivering all that. Give me that American Antique. Just filled up my booth today at the American Antique Mall, Louisville. I got a butcher cover out there. I got a Led Zeppelin 2 RL out there and some other Beatle goodies and some memorabilia. And Wednesday, vendors only, we get to go there. And we get to, only vendors only, we get to buy stuff from other dealers. So I'm hoping I can find some music memorabilia on Wednesday. What else? Got these in today. Picture sleeve and the record for Needles and Pin by the Searchers. I like this picture sleeve because it's on it. It says, I've had the promo picture sleeve of this before and it's different, but it says the same thing. It says the group and record that knocked the Beatles out of first place in England. But I looked it up on Google and that's kind of wrong because the song they replaced on #1 in England was I'm the One by Jerry and the Pacemakers. But I guess because that was Beatles related, that's where they kind of stretched the truth. The song that took I Want to Hold Your Hand off of #1 in England in February was Glad All Over by Dave Clark 5. And I got this sealed, early 70s. It was sold at a J.C. Penney for 77 cents. It's still stapled on the top. 4 Sticks is on the B side of a Led Zeppelin song. Is 4 Sticks? Yeah, that's the B side, and the A side, 1971, would be Rock and Roll. So that's the way they were sold in the store, in a J.C. Penney store. Talked about the postcards. I found this the other day. A ticket stub, original from November 19th, 1963 in England. And this is when Helen Shapiro was the main act. You know that demo for Misery that's out there on the YouTube? That song was written by John Lennon for Helen Shapiro, but she didn't want to do it. And Bobby Rydell was on this concert. And Brian Poole and the Tremolos, The Chants. And I can't read this other one. It starts with an S. Spaticus. I'm not sure who that is. But you know, Brian Poole and the Tremolos is in the Beatles legend because they got signed by Decca Records instead of the Beatles by Dick Rowe. I'm sure he had to live down that mistake the rest of his life.
Dave Evans said, Frank, looking forward to spinning the Abbey Road.
Which one did he buy? Did he buy Abbey Road from me?
That's what he's saying. Yeah. He's about to be spinning, waiting to spin.
I know he was trying to get the UK. Maybe he's not talking about the French import. I'm not sure which one that is, Abbey Road.
And then Greg Fear, I Want to Hold Your Hand is the last song they did on the last Ed Sullivan show in 1965 at the CBS Studio 50.
That doesn't make any sense. I Want to Hold Your Hand. It's 1965. Makes no sense.
HTMI cuts with Dave Evans. That's what Greg says. Maybe he got right it.
I Want to Hold Your Hand was not the last song they did on Ed Sullivan's show in 65. It was at 1964, February 9th. Come on there, Greg.
He said, watch it. Here we go.
What's what? You didn't. You had the wrong year. Got these in Life magazine, 1964 August, 1964 28th. This is the rare magazine with the little flap. This was sold on the newsstands this way. And this is the one if you subscribed and you got it in the mail with your little mailing tag there on the bottom.
Dan from Florida said Frank knows his Beatles.
Yeah, I would say. There's a person here in Louisville, I'm not going to mention any names, that he gives up on me. He says, well, you win because you know about the Beatles. I lived the Beatles for like, what, 50 years? Oh, so this one was 35 cents. And this one was 25 cents when you got it in the mail. All right. Want to do our tub. I got this in the other day. It's a cool little thing. Talk about this. Then we'll do some more notes. A few more things about Chapel Roan. She's in Australia now, and last Saturday she did a performance before sold out 50,000 people in Sydney, Australia. And she has she has 28 people in her touring entourage. It's not as bad as Hammer did back there was that in the early 90s when he had 80 people and took up a whole floor of a hotel we were at in, what city was that? New Zealand, Auckland. So we went on a trip to Australia with my ex-wife, and me and this buddy, another grocery store owner, we thought we'd go out to the bars and try to find MC Hammer, and get his autograph. And we couldn't find him, and I went back to the hotel. My ex-wife said, oh, he was right here in the bar, and she got his autograph, so that's a cool little story. So, Chapel Roan, she rented out the entire gymnasium and a yoga studio and turned it into a private green room for the festival last week. So she does things different than any other artist. And she's doing Gold Coast, 5 different appearances in Australia. There's some more coming up. And Chapel Roan last week dropped the Wasserman Agency because of the Epstein files. She's going up the charts again with Pink Pony Club because of her tour of Australia and because of that GWAR new like a heavy metal version of Pink Pony Club that already has 1.5 million views on YouTube.
Jay Farley says, hi, Mr. Stickermania and family.
How you doing, James?
T-shirt said, wasn't it I'm Down?
I'm Down was the last song, you're right. I think Greg just got his years mixed up there. Maybe he just typed it in too quick. We'll give him a break. I'm sorry, I have that 1964, the first week they came to America. I know almost everything they ever did for those 2 weeks. This is a 1978 in the shipping box. Beatles BC-13. This is the 3rd time in my lifetime I ever had one in the original shipping box. You can see it says number 604 written on there from Capitol Records. 604 on that side. It says, I don't know what the APRU 13 means, but it's a Beatles BC-13. And you can see 604 on there. This was the original hype sticker it was on when it was sealed. That was on the back, and this hype sticker was on the front. But all the albums are sealed in here except for Hard Day's Night is not, and Beatles for Sale. They must have opened it up, but it still has a shrink on it. So you got the unique poster that only came with these 78 first 3,000 boxes, and they say Capitol Records down there on the bottom. And you got the unique in the paper sleeve with a Wally cut of the Beatles rarities. It's on a purple label. Please Please Me is sealed with the hype sticker. Let It with the Beatles is sealed. I already know what all the matrices are on these because I have another open box. The Hard Day's Night was opened up. It has a, what did I do with that? Anyway, it's pretty sure it's a tube cut -2, -2. Beatles for Sale is not a -1, -1. It's a -2, -3. So that's a recut. That's not the best sounding pressing. All the rest of these are sealed. Help. Rubber sole. These are all 77, 78 pressings with laminated covers and a flip on the back. They didn't laminate these in the 80s because it costs too much money. They're just eggshell and eggshell-like, and they're not laminated. Revolver. Sergeant Pepper. Factory seal. They put them in a loose shrink. Capitol Records are not very. It's in a better shrink than most albums are that from that time period. The White Album. I think Steve Hoffman says this is one of the best pressings ever of the White Album. But I like the Holland pressing. Yellow Submarine, which has a tube cut on side 1. Abbey Road. And Let It Be. It's got big factory breathe holes on it. Let It Be. It's got a green apple on the back. All right.
Greg said, my bad, it was Help.
Help was, yeah, it might have been Help was the last song. I think you're right. I just got mixed up when you said I want to hold your hand. All right, Greg, you admitted your mistake. Thanks. I try to admit my mistakes. All right, now we're going to talk about, we got purchases and solds on eBay, and we're going to do a trivia question contest here in a second. Here is in my opinion, the best stereo audiophile pressings of Beatles albums that exist in the world. And by the end of the year, I want to have a complete set of everything I wrote down here. I got most of them. So first is a 1977, the Beatles first featuring Tony Sheridan, a UK Pickwick. Talked about that before. Next is the Beatles from 73 would be the best pressing, -2, -2, Please Please Me, but this uses the same metal work. This is a 1977 A2B2 Germany pressing. But I told you that the Please Please Me and the Holland box uses the same metalwork. I didn't know that the Holland box uses some German metalwork on some of the pressings. Both of them sound the same to me. With the Beatles, took me a long time to get this. It's a early 1980s UK pressing with -6 solid state recut. A lot better than the early tube cut on With the Beatles. Next one is A Hard Day's Night, 1970s UK pressing, -2, -2, tube cut. Beatles for Sale, you guys know what that is, -1, -1, early 70s or late 60s tube cut. My opinion, the best early stereo pressing that exists of any Beatles album besides the Please Please Me, the Beatles. That ranks right up there with this. Next one is Rubber Soul. It is a 1968 to 1970 UK pressing with -3, -3 tube cut. This is a military export from It's got sold in the UK on the record, so it has to be from 68. And we go into Revolver. In my opinion, it's a 1977 with a 7.2 prefix. It is a A1, B1 matrices. We're talking about stereo pressings. We're not talking about mono. Here is the label for the Revolver. I don't think I showed this on the Mikey Arugula episode. And then, of course, you know the Magical Mystery Tour. It is the Horzu 1973 Germany pressing.
Before you go anywhere else, Dan,
A1, B3.
Dan from Florida says, Frank, can you explain what the -3 and -1, -3 numbers mean, or any of those numbers that you always give us?
They are in the dead wax. You got an A1 on the matrices and the dead wax on side 1 of Magical Mystery Tour. And you want to find a B3. So it says, before the B3, it says, it's hard to read it here with the light. It's a SHZE -327 -A1. So you have to look in the dead wax on these matrices to make sure you have the right pressing. I hope that explained it a little bit. Beatles White Album 1980. That is 1980 pressing in Holland. It is a -1Y, -3Y, A1, and a -1Y. They use different matrices in Holland.
He asking, are those numbers written by hand or are they pressed on?
They are stamped on.
Stamped on, yeah.
Usually somebody like Harry T. Moss will hand etch his initials, but the matrices usually are always stamped on. I didn't tell you the things before all that, like the YEX and stuff like that, but I could be more specific if you wanted me to. We'll do that on Abbey Road. So Abbey Road is the, I sold my yellow submarine that had a tube cut on side 1. It's a 1970s, it's in the BC13. It has a -4 tube cut on side 1 and a -2 HTM on side 2. And of course, I'm not interested too much in the George Martin Orchestra. So let's be a little more specific on the Abbey Road UK pressing. All right. Let's see if I can read it. We don't have too bright a light in here. You have on side 1, YEX 749-2 on side 1. And on side 2, you have YEX 750-1 on the first solid state cutting of Abbey Road from the United Kingdom. That's the, these were not factory sealed in 1969 unless an importer did it. This is the way it's sold in the store with a price tag. Says it was brought over the United States. It says English $6.95 suggested retail price and it was discounted at $4.95. Did that explain it to you a little better there? I hope it did. And then we're to this fabulous audiophile pressing of Hey Jude. Has a catalog number of CPCS106. You have to be careful you don't get the 1973 pressing because it doesn't sound as good as this first pressing from 1970. And you want, with paperback writer, you want it in 3 words. Dark green apple you want on the label. The 73 pressing has a light green apple. And the matrices on this amazing audiophile pressing that is, because with me the Beatles is about the music. And when I hear these Beatle albums and their best audiophile pressing, that they couldn't even make a reissue sound like this if they had to, because the tapes are over 50 years old. These were made from the master tapes pretty quick after they were just freshly made. So on side 1 you have Y-E-E-X. It has two E's. That's the key on this matrices. And it's a 150 minus 1. And side 2, you have a Y-E-E-X 151-1. This outdoes any other Hey Jude you've ever heard.
Perry from Canada. He has two different comments, but the one I was waiting to get done.
Let me get done with this Hey Jude.
Well, this first has to do with the White Album.
Right.
He was wondering if the one that was released until George Harrison heard it and demanded that they recut it immediately.
That's the first pressing from the United States. Perry Cox sold his for $650 earlier today. I had an A28, A29 matrices. All the metalwork, the lacquers was supposed to be destroyed all the way up to 33, according to George. But some of them snuck out in Scranton before he gave the orders. And that's why they're worth so much money now. So anyway, on this Hey Jude, when you hear Old Brown Shoe, you've never heard Old Brown Shoe in this fidelity before with Nicky Hopkins, or I'm pretty sure that's him on the keyboards, because he's on the Revolution also. And Don't Let Me Down, it's like you're right on the roof listening to the Beatles. All right, we got one more, Let It Be. Let It Be, in my opinion, is to get the 1972 pressing from the United Kingdom with 3U matrices. This one is a 1978 that just has 3U on side 1 out of the BC13, but it has a Harry T. Moss recut on side 2. So that's my... Oh, wait, forgot to talk about Sgt. Pepper. Sgt. Pepper, that's a tough one. Sgt. Pepper, you want to get the 1983 or 1984 Nimbus Supercut or audiophile. But you got to have about $5,000 each to get a hold of them in a really nice shape. I've had 3 Nimbus Supercuts over my lifetime and 1 audiophile, but I don't have any currently. Let's see if I can get a hold of both of those by the end of the year. That's a big task right there.
Perry wanted to know if you had watched at John Blackstone, Paul McCartney vocalist. He says 2 episodes, the Beatles years and the time he met Paul and Linda is another episode.
No, I haven't seen that, but I'll look into that. Thanks.
And he said, I saw one of those shorts yesterday, and you said you had a U.S. first press.
Yes.
Was that the old short that came up yesterday? No. He's talking about what you have now.
This is not the very first press with the compressed. This is the corrected compression after George Harrison went to Capitol Records and got him to remaster it with less compression. This is a first, so it's really a second issue, but it's in beautiful shape. Number A, 1,964,026. I know it's a higher number, but it's impossible to find these white albums with no seam splits because of the 2 records in them in that beautiful shape. So this is a Christmas 68 issue, and a story about the 68 white album. When I was 14 years old, I went to work early at the grocery store. It's on the cash register in a little grocery store in Muncie, Indiana. We had 4 registers, and in front of one of the registers was a little record rack with the top 5 albums at Christmas, and this was one of them. And
he said that's what he wanted.
Anyway, my dad gave it to me for Christmas. All right, let's get beyond that.
I said, yeah, that's why I wanted to know it was a rare version and wanted to know what
So
the
these
rare
records
version
are
was.
also excellent, hardly played. So did you get on? All right, let's talk about something else.
Yes, yeah, the stereo. That's what Greg said. The stereo's on the back upper right corner of that, right?
Yes.
I thought I seen it just then.
All right, we're not going to talk about this white album too much. I get too
I
emotional.
was trying to get it done the other way.
I don't know if you've lost your dad and mom, but it's emotional. All right, we're going to do a sealed reveal of this 1973 Red album from the United Kingdom to see if it's a first pressing and the records are flat, because I think this will be another hot stamper for my Beatles collection. I don't think I brought my cutter in here again today. Always forget to bring the cutter.
Where's it at?
Yeah, you have to find the cutter so I can open that right. Got this French EP in. This is original French EP. Les Beatles 1965 from France. Has a laminated cover. And it's got the little store flap. It's still inside there. Hasn't been tore off. So that is cool. It says on there, Odeon Les Beatles 1965. And it's got my Beatles for Sale tracks on there. No Reply, I'm a Loser, Rock and Roll Music, and 8 Days a Week. I'd say that's a pretty good EP. And the record, excellent, looks hardly ever played. This is not a flaw, that's a little logo on top of that Odeon. That is on my STICKERMANIA 2853 store at $188. All right, sealed reveal. Here's my Penny Lane. Somebody sold a Penny Lane promo earlier today on eBay for $250. Had writing on the label. It was in very good condition. Well, this is in excellent condition. This baby's got to be worth some money. I bought that at the every Fab 4 Fest celebrates Rubber Soul last November in Asbury Park, right?
Yeah, I guess Asbury Park, New Jersey.
All right, sealed reveal. I'm back on track now. There is the cutter. Let's see, let's be careful. It's got that laminated UK cover. This was factory sealed only for the importers, I think. It's open a little bit on the bottom seal and make it a little easier. Went tightly sealed there on the rest of it. All right, be careful there, Frank. Take the gloves off. Let's see if I can just do that by hand the rest of the way. There we go. Factory sealed for over 50 years, 53 years, 52. UK. See if these records are mint and flat. Uh-oh, it's a red vinyl. I didn't know that was going to be the red vinyl. I thought it was going to be black vinyl. It's a UK pressing. We'll have to test play that tomorrow. That's a surprise. The red vinyl. And that is red also.
Someone said the Penny Lane single was awesome. This pro rock Tommy.
So that's my sealed reveal. We'll do the trivia question here. I got some Paul McCartney posters to show. Show me those two big posters over there. All right, we got these in. That's the Give My Regards to Broad Street, the original video poster that was in stores for Give My Regards to Broad Street. I went to the movie theater and saw this. There was 5 people in the audience. It lasted in the movie theater about 7 days. And the opening of the movie was that cartoon, what's it called? Rupert the Frog, I think it was.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And here is a cool mint condition movie poster for Give My Regards to Broad Street from 1984. It's got the National Screen Service. This is a real deal. Printed in the USA, 1984. That's my two posters I got in. We're doing the trivia question now.
Yeah.
Give me
Does it matter if it's black or red when it comes to the sound?
Steve Hoffman says the white vinyl, white album sounds as good as the black vinyl, so I will have to test play that to see. I'll let you know next time if it's a hot stamper.
Yeah, Perry just talking about your emotional thing, but he had emotional experience with his family situation.
So everybody can relate.
Alright, so you're doing this first.
So we got these Beatle picture disc in from the 80s in the United Kingdom. Starting off with Love Me Do and P.S. I Love You. I don't have the whole set of 22. This is 12 of them. We're going to give one of these away, my extra one, and We Can Work It Out, and Day Tripper. Second one I have is From Me to You and Thank You Girl. Third one is Hard Day's Night and Things We Said. No, She Loves You would be the next one. She Loves You and I'll Get You. So this came, yeah, I won't go into any more. It might be part of my trivia questions. Hard Day's Night and Things We Said Today. Ticket to Ride and Yes It Is. That's a pretty good double-sided single. Almost as good as this one. I Feel Fine and She's a Woman. Nobody in the 60s had B-sides as good as the Beatles.
What's the price on the 7-inch Butcher cover 45?
These have already sold.
That's what I was gonna say.
They were supposed to go out in the middle of the day. I held them for the live stream. This set of 12 sold for $200. We Can Work It Out and Day Tripper. It could have been on Rubber Soul. Help and I'm Down. There's a Help and I'm Down. There you go, Greg. And this is the most expensive one because on the back, Paperback Writer and Rain, one of the few times the Beatles ever released the Butcher cover slick. And Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane. And All You Need Is Love and Baby You're a Rich Man.
Perry said, it takes a man to show true emotion.
Yep. But I'm not trying to think about that. Yellow Submarine and Eleanor Rigby. Takes a man to wear my pink shirt too. I'll have to wear my Rolling Stones pink shirt here next time. Some girls. All right, here's the 3 trivia questions to win the extra We Can Work It Out and Day Tripper picture disc. Here's the 3 questions. What year was this picture disc released in the United Kingdom? That is question 1. 2. Which 7-inch picture disc had a variant issued with the picture zoomed in too much? That's question 2. Which title of the picture disc had a variant? And number 3. Which picture disc was included in the Beatles single box set collection in 1982? Questions again. What year was this picture disc issued in the United Kingdom? Number 2. Which 7-inch picture disc had a variant issued with the picture zoomed in too much on one side? And number 3. Which picture disc was included in the Beatles singles box set in 1982 in England? Anybody trying?
I don't understand what the one guy's trying to do. Like, he's done 3 different answers all with just the dates and then that symbol.
You got to put all 3 of your answers in the same one. All right, Polly's got trying there. No. Anybody else want to try? What year was this issued in the United Kingdom? Somebody held for review. I don't know about that. Wolfie Baby, no.
I was going to show it. Mother, you said no to it though, so yeah, that's just what it was. So right now we're just waiting.
Wolfie Baby is pretty close. Got to get all 3 correct answers. What year was a We Can Work It Out and Day Tripper issued in the United Kingdom? Question 2. Which 7-inch picture disc had a variant issued with the picture zoomed in too much on one side? And 3. Which picture disc was included in the Beatles single box set collection in 1982 in England?
I would say Daniel next, because I don't know what that symbol is that dude's trying to put in there.
Nobody's got the nobody's got all 3 answers yet. Boy, you're getting close. Everybody's close. Here, I'll give
Wolfie
you.
Baby.
I hate to give you any more clues, because you'll get it right away if I give you a clue.
And then Polly.
Nope. Boy, you're all so close. Okay, here's a hint for you. Let Me Do. Let Me Do was released, and the first picture disc was released in 1982. That's the only clue I'm going to give you. So what year was this issued? We Can Work It Out and Day Tripper.
And then look at Dan has 85.
That is correct. We got a winner. Dan
from
is
Florida. I don't know
Dan
if we
from
have
Florida.
your
These were all these were all issued. What would that be? 1965, 1985. It was. They were all. These were all 28-year anniversaries. So this came out in 1985.
Daniel's trying to say he said 85, but he did say 85 earlier, and you told him he was wrong.
All right. Well, we got 2 winners there. I'll figure out something to send you there, Danny. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is going by too quick. So anyway, what year was the picture disc issued from Day Tripper and We Can Work It Out in the United Kingdom, 1985? Which 7-inch picture disc had a variant issued with the picture zoomed in? Strawberry Fields Forever. On this side, they had the picture zoomed in too much, and it's worth a lot more than the others. And this is the picture disc that was released in the 1982 singles box set. All right, we got through that. Where's the one, the extra one? Okay. Sorry about that, Daniel. I missed it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Some other things to show. Yellow Submarine for Polly T-shirt Express. Some didn't show that to our last live stream. Original poster to advertise a video of a Beatles' first visit. It even has the removable tag on the bottom. In stores February 3rd, 2004. And a couple Yellow Submarine for the soundtrack, 1999. Posters and a little one. It must have been about. So I think that Polly T-shirt will probably want some of these.
Catalog's on the back of that one.
All right, where did we show everything? We opened that up. We talked about the audiophile pressings, Rolling Stones. Got these picture sleeves in. When I got that big lot the other day, that's a rare picture sleeve for Bill Wyman's In Another Land from the 3D. The album that was number 2 after Magical Mystery Tour on the Billboard charts. In Another Land by Bill Wyman was part of that album. There's Satanic Majesty's Requests. One of the early picture sleeves of Rolling Stones. Tell Me and I Just Want to Make Love to You. the last time I sold one of these already. That's a pretty tough picture sleeve to get. This kind of goes with that one. Real nice. She's a rainbow with 2,000 light years from home. It's amazing. They put the best two songs on the album on that single. Early 64. It's All Over Now. It even has a little fan club blurb there. It says, start a Rolling Stones fan club. Write to Patricia Thomas, London Records, New York City. Mikey Arugula, I wonder if you went to the, or Danny Goldstein, he's not in the office. Do you guys go to the Jim Irsay preview? Is it open in New York City yet? Do you have to be specially invited to that auction when it goes? I imagine you do. You probably have to have some money. Have you seen Your Mother Baby Standing in the Shadow? A nice picture sleeve. This was usually really rough. And you got Brian Jones there, and you got the Rolling Stones and Drag on the back. Real nice painted black. It's one of the best painted blacks I've ever had. It's up on my STICKERMANIA 2853 eBay store. And a real nice honky tonk women. This is another one tough to get with the B-side, which is one of the songs the Rolling Stones always finish their last couple of years shows. You can't always get what you want. Well, that's another hot pressing I didn't talk about. Got a first pressing of Let It Bleed. We'll talk about that after showing two more picture sleeves. Time Is on My Side. That's a nice 1964 picture sleeve. And As Tears Go By. And Get Off My Cloud, 1960. Is that late 65? And this pressing hot stamper, 4W, 1969 stereo of Let It Bleed. So this is how you tell when you have a Rolling Stones album when it first came out in the United Kingdom. You got a laminated cover on the front, the flip there on the side. And if you got a blue inner sleeve that shows there on the back in that little hole, you have a stereo pressing. And if you have a red, you have a mono pressing.
Yeah, I think T-shirt saying he likes the Yellow Submarine set because he likes it and he wants it.
All right, we'll send it out to you there. You did me a great job of sending me all those shirts. We'll give some shirts away next time. The Let It Bleed. 4W, the USA pressings don't compare to this one. I'm sure Dave Evans probably already has one of these. Give Me Shelter, Love in Vain, Country Honk, Live With Me, Let It Bleed, side 1. Side 2, Midnight Rambler. You never heard Midnight Rambler until you've heard this pressing. Wow. You Got the Silver, Keith Richards singing. Monkey Man really cranks on this pressing. And end up with a long version of You Can't Always Get What You Want. When that choir kicks in and Nicky Hopkins kicks in on the keyboard, wow. It's a emotional experience, which I already had that earlier today on this string. Uh-oh, this poly line is coming loose there. You'll have to put that. You gotta put.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The plastic.
Oh, did I show all the good new arrivals? I think I did.
Which way does it go?
And thanks. I think I've done my time tonight, and I appreciate you joining us tonight. And we will be back on Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight. See you later. Happy Valentine's Day.